The sun hits different in spring. Oh, so good to be back in the spot. Incense burning. Surf report. Dead flat and onshore. So if you're searching for waves today, Victoria isn't the place. But that's okay, because the sun's out. There's not a soul on the beach. And we're here to have another beautiful conversation. And I wanted to speak into a recent shift that I'm going through in my business. And that shift comes through aligned action. And so I'm now fully honoring and claiming that I mentor health coaches to step into the simplicity and the power of their magic. And this hit me in the face so hard last week when I spent 5 days in the cave with my mentor. And he was able to simply hold up this giant mirror for me to see what was there all along. I was already mentoring health coaches. I just wasn't fully able to claim it. And so now that I'm fully stepping into that, I'm inviting you to step into your power and claim your power, but also to see your magic. And today, I desire to speak into aligned action versus misaligned action. And I'll be speaking through the lens of health. So for anyone who is on a health journey, this is still so applicable for you. But for service-based coaches, entrepreneurs delivering their magic through the lens of health, this one's for you. So let's start the conversation by speaking into aligned action. What does this actually mean? So any action that you take within your business or on your health journey that feels deeply aligned to your truth, this is aligned action. Anything that you're doing, even simply being, can be aligned action. And so, for example, aligned action within my business as we speak is this conversation right now. Me at the beach, sun on the skin, these jeans on, incense burning, a microphone attached to a stick, delivering my conscious thoughts and my truth through this lens on the platform that is YouTube is aligned action. Now, I'm not necessarily doing this for an outcome. And this is where it gets tricky, because most people think when they take action in their business, it needs to have an outcome. But I disagree. You need to love it. You need to absolutely love the process without being attached to the outcome. And so another piece of aligned action for me would be speaking into my Telegram group. My Telegram group is a platform for me to speak deeper into my truth and connect with like-minded people without the noise and the distraction that something like Instagram would bring. So aligned action for me is delivering timeless assets on YouTube, speaking into my Telegram group. I also have another platform where I have all of my education for my clients. And so any piece of content that I create that goes up on that platform is aligned action. But then we can also speak into aligned action that's not directly for your business, but simply allows you to be more of your authentic self and allows you to fully embody who you are and your truth. Going to the beach for me is aligned action. Surfing, spending time with my family, lighting a fire out the backyard and sipping a bone broth and having some organic tobacco is aligned action for me. Spending time with good friends and having conscious conversations and laughter. Recording my podcast is another piece of aligned action for me. And I could carry on here, but I think it's now time to speak into, well, what would be misaligned action? So, as you are all probably aware by now, I'm not on Instagram. I'm not really playing that game. Because for me, the action of playing that game felt really misaligned. And here's where it gets really funny. Misaligned action can work. And it can really work. It can get you more traction. It can feed an algorithm. It can get you more followers. It can so-called create a community. It can add to more business. And that's totally okay, because for me, it wasn't necessarily about the outcome. It was more about how it made me feel. How did Instagram make me feel? I didn't like it. I knew when my son was coming and he was, still cooking in the oven, I thought to myself, and I've spoken about this before, I've thought to myself, like, is this really the space that I desire to be in? Like, I was distracted, I wasn't present, I wasn't patient, I was constantly comparing myself to others. And it just felt so misaligned. But it was working, it was getting me clients. So it's like, Zach, why would you stop that? You're going to be leaving all this business on the table. Sure, maybe I do leave business on the table. But it felt so misaligned. So that is a classic example for me. I'm not saying you need to get off Instagram. For me, that was misaligned action. And again, it's not me saying that like, oh, you shouldn't be playing the Instagram game. It's just, for me personally, it just didn't feel right. So misaligned action in my business could also feel like hustle and grind. Constantly making content, constantly researching, sitting in my office for 6 hours, which is easy to do, by the way. Like, as an entrepreneur, although, it does create a lot of freedom, we can also be chained to our business. Sitting inside, researching, constantly hustling, posting on 5 different platforms, Twitter and Substack and Instagram, and the list goes on in terms of platforms you can post on. You can create a school platform, and then you can just find yourself constantly hustling and grinding. And the crazy thing about that, it will get you results. But what I found is I was getting misaligned results. So what do I mean by that? I was probably attracting misaligned clients. And that is something that I personally believe, especially after being in the industry for over 10 years, that misaligned clients leads to misaligned results. And so if you're in your business right now, doing your thing, maybe there's a little bit of hustle, maybe there's a bit of grind, you're on this platform, and you notice that it just feels misaligned, there's no need to change anything right now, but simply take yourself to the beach like I am now and ask yourself, like, what feels really aligned in the actions that I'm taking, and what feels misaligned? Misaligned action for me would be comparing myself to others. And that would have been through the lens of social media. What's everyone else doing? How are they doing it? Oh, they're speaking about this version of health now, and then this version of health, and then this version of health. Maybe I need to start speaking into that. Maybe I need to do what they're doing. So now I'm basically like living in someone else's alignment. What works for them? Oh, but they're killing it. They've got all these followers. Maybe I should start doing that. Maybe I should start this platform and do this low ticket offer and do this. And it's just like, oh, now I have imposter syndrome. Now I'm sitting in fear. Now I'm in disbelief. Now I don't trust myself. Now I don't believe I'm good enough. That, to me, is misaligned action. Can you look at others for inspiration? Of course. Can you seek out a mentor? Absolutely. But you would only still seek out advice or seeking out a mentor or looking at others for inspiration if it feels deeply aligned to your truth. That's why, like, I don't desire to work with everyone. I only desire to work with those who are deeply aligned to me and the essence of Zach. The embodiment of Zach. Not for what Zach's going to teach, but for rather who he is. So therefore, I desire to showcase a full embodiment of who I am. And again, that's aligned action. You know, if I'm hiding behind a mask, pretending to be someone that I'm not, and then you come into my world and I start being this other version, you're like, oh, that's not him. That's not what I signed up to. But if you're seeing me for who I truly am and you're thinking, oh, I'd love to work with him, this is the version that you'll get. And so this is where I do believe people are wearing different masks for outcomes. And if we speak about aligned action versus misaligned, aligned action may not necessarily get you the result that you're seeking if you are seeking a result from the aligned action that you're taking, but the aligned action feels so fucking good. So, like, this just feels so good. And what's stopping you from delivering content this way? What's stopping you from taking more aligned action in your business? You know, if you don't want to write protocols anymore or do all this research or create this platform or this low ticket offer because you're just like, oh, like, it just feels gross, but it's working, stop. And sit with yourself and ask, what do I desire my business to look like? And the business should just be an expansion of you. It is you. You are the business. You are the magic. And how do I create it in a way so people can see that? So if you are hiding behind a mask, take the mask off and just choose to wear your own. Choose to fully embody yourself. Choose to take aligned action in your business, but also in your life as well. And we could speak about just you being on your health journey. Where are you taking aligned action versus misaligned action? Maybe you've been taught or told or sold the idea that you need this supplement for gut health. Circadian health is absolutely everything. Breath work, nervous system, you need to be doing this morning routine. So next thing you know, you're taking action on all of these things, but it feels misaligned. Your morning routine feels like a fucking grind. You feel like you're chained to your health journey because you've been sold the idea that this is what it needs to look like. This is what you need to do to have health. But once again, like I've spoken about, the individual delivering the content doesn't know the person receiving it. And that is my mission, to understand you, the human I'm working with. To understand you so much that the protocol, the program, the journey, the health, stepping into your truth comes organically. It just happens, it falls out of us because we allow it. We don't force it, we don't grind, we don't compare ourselves to others, we don't stick to rigidity, we don't follow certain structures or programs. Certainly don't follow protocols. Because what I desire in my business and for my health is freedom. And I desire that for you too. I know it's there for you as well. I know it's there. But again, because of belief systems, programming, conditioning. Sorry, I was just staring at a bird that just flew past and then it like landed right there. Super cool. Yeah, because of belief systems, conditioning, programming, we're taught and sold the idea that it needs to look this way, especially through the lens of business. You need to have funnels, you need to have systems, you need to have structures. Health, you need to follow this diet, you need to take this supplement, you need to do this morning routine. It's all about this, it's all about that. So it's like, okay, cool, I believe that to be true. You've adopted and adapted that belief system. I'm not necessarily here to change your belief systems. I'm here to bring more awareness so you can ask yourself, what are your belief systems? What are your truths? What's your aligned action? So this is just simply an invitation to light some incense, come down to the beach, zoom out, breathe, get rid of the noise for a day or two. And if you're on a health journey or if you're a health coach, breathe and ask yourself, where is my aligned action? What feels really fucking magnetic? What feels right? And then also ask yourself, what is my misaligned action? Where am I showing up with force, with grind, with hustle, through misaligned actions creates misaligned results? Where am I also doing that? And if you're not, great, you're onto it. But if you are, first of all, like I always say, bring awareness. How does that make me feel? And then rather than burning everything down in your business, slowly start bringing more awareness and start taking action in more alignment. And naturally, the misaligned action will just disappear. Do I still have misaligned action in my business? I find myself dipping my toe back into misaligned action, maybe when a little bit of fear kicks in. And I'm like, oh, fuck, need another client. Oh, shit, maybe a bit of hustle, a bit of grind. And I'm like, no, all good, all good. Take yourself to the beach, nothing to do, nowhere to be, and just sit. Boom, clarity comes through. Yep, got it. And then back to aligned action. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying that we just sit and do nothing and don't do any work and just let the universe figure it all out. But when we sit with ourselves every morning before showing up in our business and we ask, cool, what is it that feels aligned today? Say, for example, you desire to show up on Instagram or show up on YouTube, or, create a program, and that program or the YouTube content or the Instagram content feels deeply aligned with your truth, then going for it through aligned action creates precision and conviction. And so, for example, if I'm like, right now, I'm like, oh man, I'm fucking flowing, I'm cooking right now, and I feel this desire to speak into another 2 or 3 topics, I'll record here until it gets dark, because I'm in alignment. That is my aligned action. But if as soon as I finish this video, for example, I'm like, nah, that's good, I'm good for today, I'm also happy to upload this video and then not do any work for the rest of the day. I've already got some wood in the fire ready to go. I'm probably happy going back home tonight, lighting the fire, sitting there whilst uploading this, and then spending time with my family. I'm like, yep, that's the Tao, that's the way. There's a beautiful piece in the Tao Te Ching that says, express yourself completely and then keep quiet. That's aligned action. Doing this and then going home and then uploading it and then keep quiet, done. Because if I'm able to create somewhat consistency with that, and then I do that every week for the next 12 months, all of a sudden I've got timeless assets through aligned action sitting there. And it's like, oh, but I only worked 2 hours a day. That to me makes more sense than working 6 hours a day, but you're like here doing this and then you're here doing that, and then you're like, fuck, and now I'm in my head and now I'm comparing myself to others, and then you're just like, oh, fuck, what did I even do today? I don't know, but it felt misaligned. So again, this is just an invitation. Sit with yourself, bring awareness, ask yourself these questions. And like Rick Rubin said, it's not about winning the game, it's about playing the right one. What game do you desire to play? Don't play it to win, play it because you love it. Big love, my friends. Peace.